Saudani, the Prime Minister of Iraq, is now in control of the auctions of their CBI. What's so important about that? Because when the government sells their oil, they get paid in dollars. That's the agreement with America, and then those dollars go into the CBI auction and they get converted into dinars. That goes back to the government to pay their bills. But it wasn't. It was going from the CBI auctions to the hands of the corrupt, profiteering, evil people, the far left of Iraq. The auctions were the problem. Not anymore. The new slogan, Made in Iraq. This is about what he needs to make a real impact. I do love the conversation going on in Iraq right now and the diversification, and it is a nationwide effort. They used to have 130 trillion dinars in circulation. They tell you now it's 100 trillion dinars, it will be trillions to billions. 130. And now reported 100 trillion is a big clue of the direction of the exchange rate. The 100 trillion dinar they are talking about is the value of the IQD, not the number of notes in circulation. The difference is extremely important. The clue is it's going in the right direction of adding purchasing power to the country's currency. Al-Sudani directs to establish the concept of Made in Iraq. Quote, the Prime Minister pointed the importance of establishing the concept of Made in Iraq, as it represents a national goal shared by all. They're achieving bonds. They're soaking up money off the street. Here's another sign of the country that is setting the stage for internationalism. They got bonds to get the hoarded money into circulation. That's another very good telling sign that Iraq is just about ready to open her doors. Alak back in TV talking about stability and security, saying Iraq have very low external debt, and that's good because high external debt causes low credit rating, and it can hurt a country's exchange. Alak also said to us again the dinar would return to the glory days of the past. Frank, doesn't get any better than that. These are the people we want to hear from, and these words coming out of their mouth. This is exactly what we want our ears to hear from them. Aki, where is he at? Michigan? What's he doing? Taking care of a bank, also taking care of over 90 currency centers around Michigan. Why? Because of the Arab population in Michigan. It's massive. It's probably the largest of all the 50 states. That's why Aki has his bank there. These exchange centers, they are dealing in dinars right now. What they're doing is taking in the old 30 notes that we citizens have been holding onto for years, and putting that into the electronic platform. We have paper to show us what we have in the bank. It's the new electronic system. Frank, the reason for it is because those numbers at a flip of a switch will be recalculated with the new exchange rate and credited to the citizens of Iraq. Dinar matrices, you know very well what this means. The fact that they found a way to bring them in is just fantastic news. This just speeds it up. Deputy, smuggling of oil derivatives has shrunk by 80% in Iraq. This is also about the pending approval of the HCL. It is also about securing the borders. I think it is huge. They are securing the financial borders in Iraq. I was always told this would occur right before the revaluation. When you go to the bank to exchange, the US Treasury is going to fund the initial exchange for the bank. It is all electronic. The US Treasury will own their own dinar. These banks will then turn a profit with the US Treasury for being the broker in the exchange. It will benefit them to collect as much of the 30 notes as possible. The US Treasury will keep a certain amount of the 30 notes for interbanking and global trade with Iraq. Iraq has already guaranteed oil credits at so much a barrel. The US Treasury fully intends to also sell these oil credits at a profit margin to other countries needing the Iraq oil. I have asked my CBI contact multiple times on the fixed credit rate, and I got varied amounts from $30 to $35 a barrel. So, it is not like Iraq has to shell out trillions back to the US to cover the cost of the funds for the exchanges. Shafak News/US Secretary of State Antony Blinken called on Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani on Tuesday to control armed groups and not drag Iraq into a regional conflict. This came during a phone call between Blinken and al-Sudani, according to Al Jazeera. The U.S. State Department said, Secretary Blinken discussed in a call with the Iraqi Prime Minister ongoing efforts to end the war in Gaza, and diplomatic efforts to reach a solution in Lebanon. During the phone call, Blinken stressed the importance of not dragging Iraq into a regional conflict, stressing the need for Iraq to control armed groups launching attacks from its territory. Blinken called on the Iraqi government to protect American personnel from attacks launched from Iraq. The U.S. Energy Information Administration announced on Tuesday that Iraq's oil exports to the U.S. amounted to more than 6 million barrels during last October. The administration said in a schedule seen by Shafak News Agency, Iraq exported 6,161,000 barrels of crude oil to America during the month of October, up from 5,970,000 barrels in September.